Hi, everybody on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
All right, very good. So if you have questions and you're on YouTube, that's okay. Type them in and we're going to take a look in a moment towards the end. If you've got questions coming up and you'd like to share some of the ideas that you're going to come up with during our practice, that would be great. All right, so welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Vision and Discernment preview. My friend Susan Mills and I are very excited to work with you today. We're just giving you a little taste of what we're doing live in May. From May 1st to the 3rd, we're doing an intensive in Houston called Vision and Discernment.
A 48-hour intensive.
Yeah, so it's not just a little intensive, it's a big, deep intensive that's going to take place over 48 hours total. And you'll be able to work with us. By the end, we're going to be helping you fully transition, get a really great map, a path, a roadmap, a blueprint for your true full transition into whatever is big next for you right now. It could be business, career changes, it could be family, it could be personal. So transition and transformation are what we're here to help you with. And so I'm really proud to introduce you to Susan because Susan helped me a lot, which is why I wanted her to come and do this work with me for you, because she helped me so much. And I want to tell you a little quick story, but let me tell you, I've got Susan's little bio here and I wanted to read it to you. She's been coaching, she's been planning, she's been delivering the future with businesses and individuals and leaders for over 30 years at this point. She applies structured planning frameworks with insightful, emotion-informed processes. Sounds good, right? Right up my alley. To discover alignment and team strengths. We're here to help teams. We're here to help families. We're here to help small groups, large groups, whatever, individuals as well. And she's truly an expert in bringing those imagined possibilities that we all have been working towards, right? And really making it operational, tactical, real, grounded. That's why I love working with Susan. And so let me give you a quick testimonial about why I wanted to work so closely with somebody. You all rarely see me do that. So here I am working very closely with somebody. The reason is one day Susan, she was driving through, she asked if she could come by. I always tell people, if you're willing to come out to the boonies of Kentucky to see me, then yes, please, you can come by. So she did. She came by and she and I were doing a trade and I was helping her with some things. And she said she's going to look at this business stuff with me. So we sat down and I'm giving her the layout and she's reading my business position like a book, right? And she says, "You've got yourself defined all wrong." And she gives me a brand new definition for who I am and what I do. She said, "You're really a publisher of content who does teaching and lecturing. You're not a teacher and lecturer who's trying to publish content. It's the other way around now." And this actually changed two things for me. It changed my realization about what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it in the future, because I couldn't see the business I was doing turning into that. But once she switched this piece on for me, I felt a stillness, a peace. It felt peaceful. I felt like finally I knew how to do what I was intending. These bigger projects that were seemingly not related energetically, emotionally, mentally with the business I was running. And shortly thereafter, I started a publishing company. And from there, the blueprint, the map of how to get some of my ultimate world affecting goals out there, how to get that out there was much easier. And that's why I've picked Susan to work with, because she is able to give people that clarity in ways I've never seen before very swiftly. You lay it out into the field, and she gets you through it really fast and hard, just like I like, so that you have big, massive changes that you can be doing right away. So that's what we want to do. We're going to give you a little taste of that today. And so, Susan, any words before we go into a little meditation grounding? How would you like to say hello to everyone? Thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. And thank you so much for inviting me into your world. I love Elizabeth and I love her work and I apply it. You know, I'm not slow on the uptake. I can see how strong and powerful her tools are. And I use them every day when I work with clients. I was just with a large university client this afternoon and we thought of you. I thought of you, Elizabeth. The work that we're going to touch on tonight is a very, very skimpy preview of a process that I've used for over 30 years. I've been a management consultant in global telecom since the beginning of the 80s, really, and the breakup of the Bell system and the introduction of the digital voice products, things such as that. So I've worked with very large global companies, as well as smaller companies and large social impact initiatives. So a broad range of experience there. I love the world that is emerging now. People seem so much braver and so much more wanting to step into their dreams, to their wishes. And that's, you know, after all this time, that's really the work that inspires me. So when I took Elizabeth through her work, and everything that I do is the results that come back. It's what you told me. All I do is take what you tell me and I look at it through some experience, through some other lenses, and I spit it back to you, perhaps in a different form. But it's all your work. It's all comes from you. And it's pretty fun. It's pretty quick. And it's only intended, you know, whether it's this preview tonight or the 48-hour intensive in Houston or some of the longer work, all of those are just doors that open up and you walk through that door and the next canvas is bigger and you walk through that door and the next canvas is more rich. So this is about empowering you, about giving you an ability to separate what's core to your path, what's important to your transition, and what's distracting. And in the exercise that we'll touch on tonight, we're going to go through 4 pieces of the way people process their highest level dreams, where they're, you know, everything is possible. Then within that dream or that universe, what is it about me that makes me resonate with that? What do I do? What difference does it make to that particular world if I'm there or not? Okay, so now I'm there and I know what I'm going to do, but man, is it confusing, and there's so many ways to go. So how do I choose left or right, or go forward or stay put? So there's some decision making. We talk about that as the third element of the program, of the process. And then at the very end, we talk about money, and that's the most grounded. What is money? Is it security? Is it prestige? I don't know. I think you'll find that money is more things than maybe you thought it was, or perhaps your dream is more things than you thought it was. So in a pretty quick rapid fire, especially tonight, game, let's call it a game, you will self-identify some of the things that you think about, and then Elizabeth and I will give you some perspectives on what you self-identified. Is that right? Is that what we agreed, Elizabeth?
That's exactly perfect. And when we get into the game here in a moment, we're going to ground ourselves first into this feeling, right? The feeling of what is my vision? What is my dream? We don't need to know any of the specifics just yet. We need to feel into it first. And so we will ground into this. And then once we get into the game, you're going to be also at the end, we're going to kind of talk about, well, how do you make decisions about these particular pieces that we'll pull out of the first step of our game tonight?
Now, Elizabeth, let me remind people, you said it in the notes, but not everybody reads the notes, and I'm certainly guilty as charged. It would be very helpful if people had a pen and a paper so that you can write down some of the things. And if you have access to a computer and you can type into the chat box, that makes it easier for Elizabeth and I to see what you've entered.
Yes. So part of the game will be, if you'd like to list out some of the things that will come up for you, we'd love that. And that'll be helpful. And Susan and I will be doing it together a little bit with you too, because it's all real time and we can all benefit from it, even us right now. So let's first get grounded. Let's get into our bodies so we can really feel first. We need to feel. In order to make really good decisions, we've got to be able to feel. And so let's just go into a meditative state for a moment. If you would, I'd like you to imagine yourself as a soul, as a spirit that's in this body. And we're just grateful for the body. We're grateful for this great, grand tool. The first tool, the most important tool we have, is our body. And that's what we're going to use today to help us with this one part of our new game that we're playing. The first piece being around vision. And so we just asked for any guidance around vision, any guidance around what we see as our big dream for ourselves. You don't have to know what that is yet. You just need to be able to know, all right, I'm open. I'm open to this dream. So we ask for our bodies, we ask for our minds to be open. And take a deep breath. We ask for our heart to be open. Another deep breath. It just tells the body this is okay when we take that nice deep breath. So then we say to our gut, to our whole rest of our body, I want you to be open too. We are asking for our gut mind to be open with another deep breath. Good. And so we can just drop into the moment right now. We're here together in this moment, whether you're watching the replay or not, this very, very precious moment. This is the masterpiece. This is the game board. And this is where we get started. So once we move into this moment, here's our chance to think about our vision for our future at this moment. No other point in time, not the past, not the future, right now. Right now, we're open, mind, heart, gut, to a vision for ourselves, our dream for the future. And so let's get started with our game. And so if you might define vision for us, Susan, to get started, how might you define that part of our game here?
Well, I'm thinking that vision is almost an umbrella term for all the parts, all the lenses of the work that we're going to go to. The biggest dream versus our purpose versus our value versus our need to be grounded in the topic that we're going to call money. All of that wrapped together as a package gives us a picture. So maybe I would call, for the purposes of this exercise, I would call vision a picture of us in the world doing what we love. And it's not simply made up fairy tales. It's what's going to come from top of mind very quickly based on our own understanding of ourselves. So let me say something about the exercise. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to say a word, and then I would like you to spend about 45 seconds or 1 minute writing down as many aspects of that word as you can write down in that time period. And then I'm going to stop it. And if you're not finished, too bad. So there we go.
And the reason why we do it this fast is because we don't want your brain mind to try to take the reins.
That's exactly right.
Control it. Okay. So this is a blitz, right? So
and you'll
think fast.
And you'll get back to it. You know, if it's important enough, it won't get lost.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have the time as 6:17 here on the East Coast. for all of you who have already, let's start. Please write down in as fast a fashion as you can your perfect world. And this could be, the world could be the earth, it could be the galaxy, the cosmos. There are no barriers, there are no obstacles, there are no problems. This is the ideal Garden of Eden that you and you wish for yourself and maybe for others. So please start now.
What is your perfect world? And what are the words that come to mind to describe it?
And the category is called dream. You dream without boundaries. When you dream at night, you don't really think about it too much. It just comes to you and you float on that dream. So you're floating. You're floating within that context of whatever comes to mind.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it, guys.
Super fast, right?
It's super fast. This is just a tease. So any feedback from anybody? We want to get some ideas for what people thought about dream, what they said.
Yeah. So if you'd like to share some of your words that you came up with around dream, around the idea of the perfect world, what did that feel like? What did it look like? We'd love to hear. Type it into the chat or the Q&A, either way.
And type in single words. Don't type in big, long sentences.
Yeah. So if you can have like single words, that'd be great. And of course, also YouTube too. You're welcome to post there as well.
Great. Perfect, Laura.
Good. So we have someone typed in already. Clean, healthy, fair, sharing, and fun, quiet,
creative,
sounds of nature. And then we have everyone knowing their true source and empowerment, unlimited creativity, cooperation, adventure, beauty, happiness, freedom, time, peace, plentiful income, teaching people how to overcome their stuff, how overcoming the big stuff. That's a good version for our dream reality. Family and friends, beach, dreams, horizons, love, spirituality, prayer, meditation, peace, contentment.
Okay, Elizabeth, I'm going to stop you right there because I want to go on to the next one, but you all did a great job. This ideal world that you've envisioned for yourself and for others, you're getting the sense of it. Now, do the same thing in a different part of that same piece of paper. And I want you to envision yourself as to why you picked that particular world. I mean, obviously, everybody's vision of what the perfect world is different, but who are you? What are you doing there? Why are you there? What difference do you make? And I'm going to give you a minute on that. It's now 6:20 Eastern Time. So start again, write as many words as you can about the topic of purpose.
Why are you there in that beautiful place? You can start now. Why are you there? What is the purpose? What are you doing in this dream place?
What difference does it make?
It's a very deep question.
And it's from an ideal point of view. This is not meant to be, there's no problems or obstacles to you being in that role that you imagine.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to give people one more minute on this, Elizabeth, because
Yeah.
dreams are easier for people. Purpose is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So we're going to let people think. Go ahead and start answering, entering your one word entries about purpose into the chat.
Mm-hmm. So we have guardian, teacher, artist, growing goodness, feeling and working together with everyone, ascension, empowerment, someone that's holding and sharing, guiding, teaching, an entrepreneur, expressing and creating, awakening and healing, being connected. Single words is a bit hard for this one, for sure.
But single words is so important, and you'll see when we get into Houston, I'm going to be a bit of a tyrant on that one. To use one of Elizabeth's words, I want the single word. Sometimes you get to use two, but no sentences. Not right now, not at the beginning.
And there's a really good reason for this, and it helps because a lot of times you're going to use those words and you're going to expound upon them, and it's harder to do that with a sentence.
Right, and whether you add a past tense or an ing or all of those are things that you're telling me as I look when we go there.
Yes, exactly.
When we look at these lists, that those single words are a challenge and an opportunity.
Exactly. So with our French, we might be able to narrow it down. We could say a teacher, a person that is a resource, someone who is also an inspiration, and someone who can empower people to feel like they can. And then narrowing that down even farther. Then, of course, we've got expansive, co-creator, infinite, immortal, deep experiencing, serving, nurturing, growing, enjoying, and healing, love, learning mastery of dimensions, energetic, philanthropist, soul mastery, flow, enjoying friends' company, dreaming together, sharing about projects, purpose, a lot of sharing, teaching, experiencing. I love that. To have my love accepted, to help, to support, to be grounded, connected. I see a lot of people saying connected.
Right. And I'm gonna stop you again because we know I'm a bully here. So, but part of this is to show you that we're looking. We want to get through this whole cycle. The third thing I'm going to ask you to do is talk about values. What do you care about? The purpose was, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And the next session about values is, why are you doing it, or how are you doing it? What do you value? What is unique in how you see yourself in this role, in this ideal world? So it is 6:25 Eastern Time. Please continue this one word exercise. Tough it through. Try to make it one word. Give me as many words as you can in the next minute about your personal value or values.
Good. Get started now. Yeah, what do you care about the most, and what do you value in what you're doing and how you're doing it? In this ideal world scenario.
This is the world that you dream of, where you are a player.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you play within that ideal world is different than the way other people do, because of what you feel your gifts are, whatever you value as your contribution, how you do it, why you do it, what you do it.
Mm-hmm.
These are the good words: empower, heart, impact, community connections, love. These are values.
Mm-hmm. Good. Feeling, creating, loving, enjoying, and expanding.
These are values.
Yes. Presence.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Integrity.
Learning, honesty, alignment. Good.
Funny.
Freedom. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Authenticity, being authenticity.
Yep, yep, yep.
Clear, fair, cooperative, understanding,
Terrific.
compassion, justice.
Okay, so I'm gonna call that a day for right now in terms of the values. But you know, if you're still entering them, you can do it while I'm talking here. So the next one, first of all, when you look at these values and you look at the sheet of paper that you have, take a minute to see if some of the things that you put in values, you also put into purpose or you put into dream.
Mhm.
One of the things that, were we to work in person, I would ask you to, if you've got a word in one category, don't repeat it in the others. It forces you, in a sense, to put the word in the category that is most important. It's not that the word doesn't exist in the other categories, but you're being forced to say, no, that's purpose. No, that's vision. No, that's dream. No, that's values.
Mhm.
So it's a lot about choosing and selecting and weaning down and simplifying.
Mhm.
Now, the last part of this little game we're going to be at 6:28 Eastern time, and I want you to write down, when you hear the word money, what does it mean to you? What is money in your life, in your world? Go and put down any kind of word that you want to.
Any word at all. What is money in this scenario, in your dream? What is money? Mm.
And this is the most practical, the most grounded. We've gone from this cosmic, galactic level, anything is possible, down to the nitty gritty of money.
Right.
Feet on the ground.
Yeah, feet on the ground.
Generosity, sharing, freedom, opportunity, lots of freedom,
Mhm.
giving, abundance. This is a
Safety.
group that thinks with its heart, Elizabeth.
Very much so, right? Yeah.
Limiting, restricting, travel, exchange, worthiness, wonderful, reciprocity. These are great qualities.
So Kirk and Dina, I noticed that your feelings around money are uncomfortable for you, painful.
That's fine. Don't go there. Don't analyze, Elizabeth.
Mhm.
Nope, 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 not yet.
Right, gotcha.
Put any word down there
Mhm.
that this is top of the head, right out of the gut.
Mhm.
What does the word money bring up when we put it on this list?
Mhm.
And I'm going to give you one more minute. This is not easy, Elizabeth.
Oh, it's not.
It's, you know, and especially when I badger people so much, because I really don't want their mind to take over or
No.
their heart to take. I don't want, I want this to be something that almost erupts
Yeah,
without, you know, oh my God, did I really say that?
right. So that it can just move through as fast as possible. It's very
Exactly. So
mm-hmm.
28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, I've got 6:31 now here. So I'm gonna call the end to the money exercise. So let's look a little bit at these words. We've got positive words that typically seem to have a positive connotation. Other words, we've got everything from freedom to trap, from oxidizing to restraining, to illusory, to separation, facilitation, seduction, false. At the same time, look at all the other words that are in the same sheet of paper that you've been writing with values, purpose, and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Just from looking at the words that are coming up here, one of the things that we often seem to identify in these quick little exercises is that people will be it's really easy to go to one or two or maybe even three parts of it. And then we get to the fourth part of it and we go, I don't know what to write down. Well, da 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 da. And it sometimes money's the easy one, sometimes money's the hard one, sometimes dreams is the easy one, sometimes dreams the hard one. Purpose is always often one that people stumbled over.
Yeah.
The fact is, so we're going to call this little exercise, for the purpose of this stage right now, we're going to call the exercise over. And I'd like you to consider the fact that in the four categories, dream, purpose, values, and money, it's the same thing. It's the same question. And you're going to say, no, it's not. My dreams and my money are not the same. She's nuts. Well, okay, there you go, Elizabeth. I've just lost you all credibility with all of your group. I maintain it's the same thing. The way we look at our dreams is how we see ourselves empowered through our purpose and our values in a way that is sustaining ourselves with freedom, with choice, with generosity. How we see ourselves in the connection of money, how we earn our living, often identifies that we don't have those concepts of freedom and generosity. We're stuck. Maybe we do feel trapped. Maybe we don't know what our role is, our purpose. Maybe we have a hard time even thinking about how to get out of this.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to pose to you, and each of you has this sheet of paper, except for the people that contributed online. Nobody really knows what you wrote on the piece of paper. But I will submit to you that whatever the category was that you put a word down, whether it was in dream, purpose, values, or money, if you took all of those categories away and just had those single words on the pieces of paper, that's a picture of you.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a picture of you. The question is, what do you do with it?
Right.
And that's where the workshop comes in. Typically, when we do this blitz exercise, we do it with a much smaller group, not 25 people or 100 people. But we then look at the very strong words. We take you through an exercise where you are asked to select and prune and choose and sort. And again, it's very fast. Do it now. Don't think. Just check. So sorry, you missed your turn. Come back around. Da 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 da. The mind is not to analyze this. It's just doing it. And by the end of 60 minutes, you're kind of breathless. And yet you will see some patterns. Mm-hmm. We then take those patterns, at least for this particular exercise, and we find the highest, most inspired, most enlightened word or principle or driver or vision. And we put that at the top. That's something that your higher self has told you that you want to live for and that you want to do. I'll give you some examples. I was in a very straight business meeting, but it was all women. I do think that made a difference. And one of them whispered out, I don't know, somewhere in this, love. And didn't come back to it in any way, shape, or form. And then at the end of it, when we were analyzing it, and I said, there's one really home run powerful word here. Can you find it? And they all found it. It was love. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why didn't you say it? Why didn't everybody put it on their sheets? And they said, well, because we don't do that in business. I said, this isn't for public consumption. This isn't going to go on your logo. But if you're going to operate as a team from the highest point of your shared values, let's put love up there. I've since heard from them. I did this work for them at the end of December. They've closed 2 major accounts in 30 days. And they're their PowerPoint presentations come together so beautifully, and they talk about love among and between themselves. The word does not appear in their PowerPoint deck, but they know it as a quality of what differentiates them from others. We then, so that we'll come up with kind of a driving principle. I had a client yesterday, the word that they came out of at the top was miracles. And these are straight businesses. They want to do miracles. And they work in a lot in the world of diversity. And they came up with a word that just made me laugh out loud. I think it was Black Queen. And I had no idea what Black Queen was, but they knew. It didn't matter that I knew. They apparently, there's a character in their world that is just outrageous, and the person is a guy who acts like a queen, who is Black, but all of them knew who it was. And he's so full of joy, and he's so full of delight, and he brings so much joy to everybody, that's so that they knew what they meant. And when they put down essentially that as a value, I said, well, for public consumption purposes, not everybody's going to have that same vision. So they chose the word joy. But the way they came to it was from a shared perspective of an experience that they had had together. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, and so we work that out. At the end of the day, not even the day, at the end of 2 hours, you come out with a highest level principle with some core purposes, 1 or 2, maybe 3, with some values that you use as tactical and strategic decision making in order to achieve some very well-defined goals. And all of those words come out of the list of the 4 topics that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And that becomes the blueprint that starts the 48-hour vision and discernment intensive.
And that's just the start.
that's the first 2 hours.
That's the first 2 hours.
And then we go into depth with it. But it's fun, it's challenging, it's frustrating. We'll have some quiet time. We'll have some one-on-one coaching, some teamwork, some written exercises. Not a lot. It's hard, but it's not hard in the sense that it's difficult or you can't do it. It's hard in the sense that it's new and it's going to stretch your boundaries.
Yes, absolutely. It's already stretching boundaries. We've had some reactions saying, oh my goodness, that's very cool. That all of them are giving us a picture of ourselves, and that is going to then turn into much, much more. And then, of course, my part in this is to help you learn how to negotiate, how to make decisions, how to discern as you're going through all of these things in a we're going to use analytical, yes, but that's only going to be part of it.
I have a very traditional business background.
Yeah.
So we're going to use traditional tools, but we're going to bring them to life through Elizabeth's work, Elizabeth's light, Elizabeth's processes.
That'll be really fun because it'll be good for everything from family to team building to, even if you're an individual, helping you move and navigate through the world, being able to really make decisions from this business vantage point, and the framework that you'll be able to have is the key. So we just give you a little taste of how it feels, and also the dynamic and Susan's style, because many of you are used to my style. So I wanted you to really see Susan's style. And like I said, hard and fast.
I'm the bully. Elizabeth's the nice one.
Yeah, that's okay. And either way, you're going to get both nurtured and you're going to get empowered, and you're going to get pushed into different parts of thinking that maybe you haven't been in before. And I certainly have found that to be the case working with Susan too. So I think
Elizabeth, do you want to take some questions from people?
Yes, let's take a few questions. So one of the questions that came up was, Melissa said, ... So if I have freedom in 3 categories, including money, Well, what that means, I think, Melissa, according to what Susan's saying for our game here, is that that's a very core part of who you are, both in the vision you have of the dream world you want to help achieve, in the purpose you have in that, and then, of course, how the money functions, how your values work in that dream world. And so that's a clue. But what would you like to say to Melissa around that? She just wants to know what that means by having
Well,
freedom in 3 categories.
I think that Melissa, if you did the whole exercise, you might have had maybe 25, 50 words on that piece of paper. Just from the statement that you've made there, I imagine that freedom was one of those words. And if you had if you're saying that you had freedom in 3 categories, I'm assuming you meant 3 of the dream, purpose, values, and money categories.
That's right.
What I might do if I'm working with you and looking at that list, I might circle freedom and say, well, that's a pretty strong one. She's mentioned it several times, but are there other ones that you've mentioned? If you've mentioned that one 3 times, is there something else that you've mentioned 2 times? And does it mean something like freedom? Is freedom really what you're asking for? Or is it some of these other words that you've got on that piece of paper? Freedom itself isn't the one word. It's defined. You've come to, if freedom is really your guiding principle, you've come to it through 10 or 15 different lenses in this exercise.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to discover. And maybe you've used 10 or 15 different words and they're really trying to express something that's related to freedom, but freedom itself isn't the right word. So I don't know until I look at the whole exercise.
And then a good way to kind of look at what freedom means too is to consider for yourself, how does it feel? And are there other words that you can derive from the feeling of freedom that might be useful to you as well? Maybe freedom was the one that came up first, but if you think about how freedom feels, maybe there's more specific words you could add or extrapolate from that one.
It could be words like freedom to be generous, freedom to travel, freedom to not work, freedom, that's that. Now the head's getting involved.
Right, it's true. The head gets involved real quick. We're going to catch ourselves a lot, noticing our brain mind coming in to take charge, right? So Moria has a good question. She says, how do all these individual values from each category help us discern the what of our core business offering, what it should be if we're just starting from scratch?
Right. And Elizabeth, this is what I took you through. The exercise we did just now was called Vision Blitz. I have a parallel one that I use a lot called Business Blitz. And it goes down to brand, offers, money. Again, money comes into the place, and partnerships. We look at if you started with a vision blitz to kind of find out who you are, or not even who you are, who this business is. If you come into this wanting to have a business, it's a great way for 2 or 3 people to say, well, I think the business is this. No, I think the business is that. Once we figure out what in a sense, the purpose of the business is, the client I was with the other day, they thought their business was brokering insurance. They found out that what they shared as a vision wasn't brokering of insurance, although those were the offers. Their purpose was giving a face to women in business, empowering women through financial insurance services. So it changed. Specific,
yeah.
It changed how they thought of their business, positioned their business. But to your question, Moira, the Business Blitz exercise gets more granular in terms of offers, partnerships, whole value chain, collaborations, market segments, all those kinds of things. It's just that we didn't do that part of it tonight.
That's right. So you're alluding to another section of what we're going to be teaching about in our intensive, which will get you to the point of, I know exactly what I want to offer.
We will do a visioning as one, the introduction part of the intensive, and then we will move into the business or individual. I call it business, but it could be the individual as the entity, as the offer themselves. So we'll do that, and then we come back to collaboration and decision making and partnerships and priorities.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. And then let's see if any other questions have arisen. If you have any questions at all that are coming up right now, feel free to type them in as you wish. And I'm going to check our YouTube, make sure there's no questions there as well. And if you've got questions on YouTube too, and you've joined us, very welcome to type them in. I'm there, I can read them. I'm just going in. So good. And so let's see.
I've done help businesses position themselves for decades, literally decades. I've got over 200 clients on my list, my client list. And what's apparent to me is whether they are a sole entrepreneur wanting to do a social purpose project in a distressed part of the world, or they're a global corporation, the process of coming to the point of view of who are we, what are we doing, and how are we doing it is the same process. How you manifest it is what your brand values are. In other words, one of the things also to point out is that the company's brand values may be different from your personal values.
Yeah, interesting. And so Moria asks, is there a possibility that the final outcome might be that I should not launch my own business?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because where you're going for is something at the end of the day, it feels so right that you have the confidence to step forward into it. And if no, that's not right. No, that's not right. No, that's not right. And you just can't nail it down. I never guarantee that we're going to come out with a business plan.
Right.
I guarantee that we will come out with a deep analysis of why you're going in that direction, sufficient to build a business plan from it, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
if you get into the thing about Biz Blitz and Vision Blitz too, you will know pretty quickly if there's a conflict between, oh, I want to be a world-class entrepreneur, but I really don't want to take any risks. That will show up in the first hour.
Yes.
And I'll recognize that from 9 miles away. So we'll go there.
Yeah, we will. We'll go deep into it. And so what that might be true, Moria, that it might turn out, oh, I really am not meant to start a business, but what will come out of it is what you are going to be doing. It's about transition right now. So whomever's in transition, whether it is about business or not, whether it's starting a new project, a new business, a new endeavor with a group, a new team, a new family, or a new move, whatever it might be, transition is where we're going to be serving you the best in whatever capacity that might be. So Laura asks,
oh, I love it. I've read it.
Yeah. Could this process help for starting something like a farm or a B&B on a farm?
Oh, you betcha.
That's right.
What? I mean, I work with a group of sustainable farmers here in the St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay area. And, it's so aligned. The whole process of hospitality and food and, essentially visitor, vacation periods or, it all aligns. And if you went through a practice like this, either in our workshop or with somebody else, the point of this work is to streamline and focus you on ways that you deliver your offers unique to you. And if the person next door and behind you and on the other side all have farms and bed and breakfast, they still wouldn't be you.
That's right.
So it's differentiation.
That's right.
Based on values, purpose, and highest calling.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful. And yeah, you don't need to necessarily be involved in a group or a team at all. This is for the individual just as much as anyone. And in fact, for me, I've always used what Susan's taught me as an individual. So it really counts nicely for those of us who are working solo or whatever that might look like for you. And then, of course, we have from Karen, if one of the pruned down words is not mentioned as much but seems more important, does that get more sort of points?
It kind of depends on the context. You get a vote on it, but then at the end of the day, I get a vote on it too, just because I have more experience doing this exercise. And then together, you know, all I want to do is reflect back to you what is the deepest, most meaningful, most resonant word or words that you feel are true.
I love it. Exactly. There's a good example Moria posted. She said that there was an LA apartment couple. They were living in an apartment. They got a new dog. He was not happy, but they didn't want to get rid of the dog. So they decided that he needed to work on a farm. So they started a farm, and now they are known worldwide. They have a documentary about them called The Biggest Little Farm, and they included their dog in their values.
Yeah. And actually, I'm from California. My home is Berkeley, California, and I spend a lot of time in LA and in the Valley. And the folks that started The Biggest Little Farm sell on Saturday mornings at the Calabasas Farmers Market, and that's where I shop almost every weekend that I'm in LA. I know them well.
Oh, that's amazing. And they're a good example of, you know what, in their position and their unique team, part of their team was a dog.
Oh, absolutely. And that goes to values. And when you looked at, and that's a great example because their core principle, why their vegetables were different, and by the way, sometimes twice as much as everybody else's, that were also organic, is because they used natural processes to bring the soil, bring the people that lived on the soil, the animals, into harmony. So they had to find natural ways to put up with snail infestations and you know, predator killings of chickens, and not easy. It was a very, very, very high standard they set for themselves, but they were committed to do it.
Yeah, another clear visual of, or an outcome of, how their value has positioned them in a unique way to offer something at a specific price point that can't be found easily. And that value system was what they based it on. And so that's a very good example. And we can totally pull almost anything like this and be able to kind of reverse engineer it a little bit.
That's a great word. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the meantime, it gives you something to think about. Start with these 4 quadrants about vision. What's the big dream? What is your position in this dream? How do you work in this dream? What do you value most about the dream? And how does money play a role too? And you can still be playing with this right now. And remember, when you remove the categories, that's a picture of you.
Yeah.
The picture. And well, that's going to be very clear how, which portion might need some special insight, some special discernment to go deeper into it and be able to figure out what's going to work best for you. What do you need to modify? What actions you need to take to maybe switch those money words into something different for yourself, but so that they really match who you are, not because they're forced into something, right? So that's going to be more in depth what we're going to be doing in person. but I'm so glad to give you a taste of this very first tool around this, the vision blitz. You got
48-hour vision blitz.
48-hour vision blitz, vision and discernment, of which we'll be doing, of course, all of our in-person work very in-depth. And so this was just a good little glimpse of what you'll get in the first hour or two with us.
Out of 48 hours.
48 hours. Imagine what else is going to come up. So we're very proud to serve you. And then, of course, Moria has a final good question. That's a very good one for us to end on, actually. Will we be covering blocks to creating the dream?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Blocks. Yes, definitely. We're going to look at blocks not only from your vantage point, but from ours. And that's part of the insight we're going to help you is we're going to support you in understanding and seeing these blocks very clearly for yourself. It's very hard to see your own blocks. I couldn't see my own blocks until Susan pointed them out. And with that, it was a life transforming moment for me to be shown what my blocks are and to be realigned into a position where I can actually fulfill all those quadrants and more, be able to move forward with a very clear goal for not just a year or 2 years, but 10 years, 20 years. And that's the great blessing that we get to be able to share with you through this intensive. So if you'd like to join us, check out our website at businessvisionintensive.com. And you'll see what exactly we're going to be doing and covering in our intensive in Houston in person. And we're going to be doing at least one more, if not 2 more previews of some little bits and pieces of our intensive. So look for those if you'd like to. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and join me live. And you'll get an immediate update of when we're live with our next 2. Or you can subscribe to seerandscientist.com, seer, S-E-E-R, and scientist.com. Subscribe to my newsletters and email updates, and I'll be letting you know way beforehand when the next preview is, so you can get the next tool to play with at no cost to you. We just want to give you a taste of this valuable information that you can start playing with now. And that's so fun and really beautiful. I'm so glad we get to share that. Any final remarks, Susan, that you might like to give to our guests that joined us today and anyone listening to the replay?
Well, one of the things that comes to mind is what I told you. You said, why should we do this? And I said, because it's quick, it's fast, it's good, and they walk away being empowered. And so we somewhere on the website or on the flyer or something, we said something like, you do more in 48 hours than you do in 48 days or 48 weeks or something like that. And I think that's true. By jumping into this swimming pool at the deep end, knowing that you've got a life jacket on, you're not going to drown.
Yeah.
You'll come out of it feeling you've accomplished something.
Exactly. And that's one of Susan and mine's shared values. We come at everything as, are we empowering people to not need us anymore?
Yeah, that's my job, to get fired.
Yeah, exactly. Both of us have the same value on that. It's our job to get fired. And that's what we want. We want you to use us and juice every ounce of utilization you can from our insight and our tools, and then be able to move forward without us. That's the key. Empowerment is our main focus value, I think. And that's been really neat. And as you know, that's what I'm always interested in, making sure you can navigate and be able to move forward for yourself every day, having those tools, not feeling like you are lost or not feeling like you're not really sure which direction to go, even though there might be many different doors in front of you. How do you choose? That's going to be part of that whole process. Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Susan. And I really
thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for inviting me into this wonderful group of people.
Yeah, they're great. I just love them, and so heart-centered. And thank you all for sharing your different things that you wrote down. Very beautiful, very handy, very telling about where we're at, and it gives you a better picture of yourself. And so Moria says thank you, and everyone is saying thank you. We're very glad we got to serve you a little bit today. Share this freely, everybody. If you have anybody who's thinking about any kind of transition they're in, share this tool set with them. Share this video freely as you wish, and get that out there for them to be able to use the tool that we just taught you today. It's going to help a lot of people perhaps examine what is their dream, what is the ideal world, what's the new earth we're working towards exactly, what does that look like? And this is how we get started to make change. Oh, I'm so glad. And so, yes, there is a Facebook event. I believe there's at least an Eventbrite up right now. And there will be more Facebook stuff coming up. We're going to have other videos as well. So lots more to share. And thank you so much for sharing if you feel compelled to. And we're very glad you came with us today. Nice little fun hour. We got a lot done real quick. And of course, bowing to the brain mind, thank you so much for staying out of the way. And thank you for your open hearts, everybody. We're here for you. And I look forward to connecting more very soon. Namaste, everyone.
Right. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.